So this is basically a low budget Olivia Pope and Fitz. Got it. Hey y'all, it's your girl NASB and welcome back to NASMAS 2018. We're at the penultimate episode, y'all. What a doozy of a journey it's been thus far. Today, I'll be reviewing the Freeform original movie, The Truth About Christmas. So I've brought back my copper mug for today's accompanying cocktail, which is a gingerbread bourbon punch. By now, you guys know the deal that the recipe will be linked in the description box below, so you can try it if you want. But let's quickly get into this TTAC review. TTAC, The Truth About Christmas. Here's the quick plot. An encounter with a toy store Santa results in a drastic change in a political consultant, leaving her unable to lie. Alright, so that political consultant's name is Jillian, and her boyfriend George is a city councilman, and he's soon going to be running for mayor. Most of the show takes place in the weekend or the couple of days leading up to and on Christmas, where Jillian goes to meet George's family. And that more or less sums up the plot. So the opening shot for this movie really made me feel like, yep, it's going to be another terrible one. You guys know that I've been looking at the splicing and how they put together scenes when they do different takes. On the very first scene, there is a major issue. Like, I don't know how you can watch this movie and not notice that when they come from one angle, you see her in a certain position, and then when they try to give you another angle, which is to be a continuation, she's set differently. So you see, they came out the gate looking like, hey, we're not even gonna try. And while I'm used to it by now, you guys can imagine how tired I am of it. It also didn't help that it triggered memories of the holiday calendar, because here we have yet another main character who is haunted by something that is possessed by Duppy or ghost or whatever you guys want to call it. In this instance, whatever it was that was haunting her was more malicious, but still. Surprisingly though, even though I was expecting to hate this one, I'd say it managed to redeem itself in the end. It had a message and a resolution that was satisfying even while being typical. It was a hiccupy ride to get to that end, and it had several awkward moments on the way, but it's like each time I counted it out, it would pop its little head back up, and so it gets points for being a fighter. Getting into the issues I had with it, her major dilemma was that she could not tell a lie. This, as you can imagine, would be an issue for somebody in the political field. No shade, it's just going off of the stereotype, which is what they emphasized in this movie. My particular issue was with her reactions. I would think if you suddenly found yourself unable to lie and you just heard the truth spilling out of you in an embarrassing situation, especially when you're trying to make a good first impression on your boyfriend's parents, your reaction is not going to just be to make a couple awkward faces. When it first started, I wondered if she could hear herself telling the lies. They confirmed later on that she could, and it actually made it worse. Her reactions just weren't realistic. And I know that the concept itself is not realistic. I mean, Santa is real in this. Hey, if you believe in him, I'm sorry if I just broke the news to you. But yeah, Santa is real and there is a truth serum kind of curse. But outside of that, it seemed like the movie was trying to go for something that's grounded in reality. So I would think that her facial expressions, her being the main character and this being the major dilemma, would be something that they would try to get accurate. I remember explicitly thinking, oh my god, you have Liar Liar right there to help you. And let's keep it real, Jim Carrey's performance in that was really over the top, yet somehow it was still believable. And I just feel like they really could have done more with it, and they just dropped the ball. Then there are other visual inconsistencies or inaccuracies. A major one that got to me was when she called her friend and you saw on the screen Jillian calling. Then after the friend has answered and is talking to her, they cut back to the screen and it still says Jillian calling with the option to accept or decline. How does that get past an editor? Honestly, they didn't even need to cut back to that image. It just felt so sloppy. And speaking of her best friend was one of two of what I would say the most important people in her life, the other one being her boyfriend. And I really didn't like that at such an important moment in her life when something so big is going wrong, these two people did not seem to really care. They were pretty insensitive. I just don't get why her best friend wouldn't listen to her about such a huge problem at such a crucial juncture in her life. And then her boyfriend George, he was selfish and inconsiderate and he just didn't listen to her. And this was even before the curse thing happened. Actually, he did listen to her, but it was only in terms of furthering himself as a politician. I really didn't see what she saw in him save for attraction to political ambition. And my next gripe is a PSA. Sometimes in stories, folks can and should stick around after they make major declarations, announcements, or confessions. We're all grown people here. Stick around and deal with your mess. And this especially gets me in situations where if the person had stuck around, they would see that the problem was not as big as they thought, or not even a problem at all. But I get that if they stopped relying on this crutch, it would cut down on the movie's runtime, and then it would also force writers to give us proper conflict and resolutions. And we can't have that, can we? And the last thing I want to mention in terms of my issues is that I don't know what was happening with the best friend's language. It had me raising my eyebrows and ready to give side eyes a couple of times. I'll give it to them that they had a couple of funny moments when it came to the dialogue though, one of which I won't state in case you plan to watch it after this. And it's not to say that that moment was hilarious, it's more that it was unexpected. And I definitely want to shout out the potential future brother-in-law in this, because he asked a question that I have been asking for weeks when watching these movies. That question was, hey, what are you doing out here without a coat? You guys know that they have been trying me with these movies, having these women in the cold and underdressed, and on top of it, acting like it's perfectly normal. I'm just glad that finally somebody asked the question that needed to be asked. In that moment, I felt seen. My final plot note could be something good or something bad depending on the perspectives. I didn't know exactly where to put it. At one point, I thought a love triangle was developing and it would have been a really problematic love triangle, but then they kind of just made it fizzle out. It just didn't quite pan out. They pushed it up to a point and then they stopped. And I don't know if I'm supposed to look at it as if it's unresolved or to say, hey, they left it open. So overall, like I said, this movie managed to redeem itself for me. It didn't exactly wow me, but it had its moments. So it manages to get a recommendation if this is your kind of show, if it's what you're looking for. If you end up watching it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Alright folks, so I know that this is the second to last NASMAS 2018 video, but I feel like it's going to be the last one in which I do a movie review. And this is because no other rom-com really interests me right now, and I don't want to go into Christmas grumpy from disappointment. You guys have seen that most of these movies have been duds. So I'm gonna try and do something different for y'all for the final video. I'm not 100% on what it is yet, but hopefully it's something that you like and you'll actually come back and watch it. I'll take some time and mull over all of the movies that I've watched so far and see if I can come up with a ranking. And it's actually timely that I've stopped here. Now I get to file them all as the 12 movies of NASMAS. So like I said, I'll try and rank them, and if I manage to do it, I will include it in the next video. I want to thank all of you for sticking with me thus far. It's really meant a lot to me. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't yet, subscribe if you want to know when I release new content, and share this everywhere. I will hopefully see you in the next and final video of this series, which is due out on Christmas Day. Bye!